If you want to make sure you stay in good conversation, you gotta tune in to Coffee and Conversation with Collette. That's me, Thursday mornings from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. on the only station, WHPR TV 33. See you soon. Great, amazing Friday to you. You're officially tuned in to Coffee and Conversation with Collette, and I'm Collette. And as I do my curtsy because that's just what I do. That's for us. That's the reverence that I give you. I know that you could be anywhere on this kind of overcast and rainy fall day. Doesn't it feel like fall to you? I know that you all are getting ready for football this weekend and everything that comes with that and tailgating and so like that. I know you're going to be prepared to address this whole still knee thing. If we're kneeling, if we're standing, if we're putting our fist up, it has become an ongoing conversation for us. But I believe that those of us who either pay attention really don't want to get to the underlying issue versus we just think that it's about kneeling or protesting. And that's never what it's about. But when you have individuals who don't understand what your cause is, what your plight is, what your oppression is, they never will. And so today, it's our Friday time, and it's always a pleasure to be with the Son of Man, the Honorable Son of Man, the new Nation of Islam from 7 to 8. And so we briefly delved into it a little bit yesterday. Post-racial America, does it exist? Are we there yet? And from the calls that we had, and I invite you all, everyone that I missed yesterday, definitely call in. Let me give you the numbers, 313-868-0342 or 313-868-0351, 313-868-4336. And I want to hear what you had to say because we gave a different perspective, if you will, a different narrative, if you will, because a lot of us just think that okay, because President Barack Hussein Obama was elected and because he is a black man in America, that, okay, that has to be the end of racism because a black man was elected. And then we had the conversation, well, no, that's not the case, because if it were the case, we wouldn't have this groundswell of racist behavior and killings, atrocities by law, by the common man, every day since Donald Trump has been elected. And it seems like every time you look at media and the news feed, there is something that is consistently perpetuating that difference. Whether you had the high school students at the school screaming, build the wall at the football game, which of course others took offense to. And those students said, well, it wasn't about that wall. It was about the defensive wall. And we didn't think it was a problem. Do we have a problem with that? We have a problem because do we need to have a sensitivity? Or is that always a problem with people of color, that we've always had to be someone else in America and we just don't understand that yet? And we keep focusing on who we need to be to appease America, that we then take away what we should be doing. Our networking, our growth building, our collective efforts to say, you know what? We understand who you are. We know who you are better than you know who you are, because at least there are factors that are consistent with how you interact with us. You're going to oppress. You're going to create a narrative that shows us less than. You're going to work to indoctrinate us into your ideology, as the school system does for those 12 or 13 years. We're going to give you what you're supposed to believe, and you're not supposed to question it, and you're going to work harder for us than you do for yourselves. If we already understand that, we should just put that in a bottle and put a top on it, like put a lid on it, right? And put that on the shelf somewhere and say, from henceforth, we're going to work together to nation build. And that means that we're going to remove the ego from whatever it is that we have attached it to, the person, the messenger, and get the message. Do you know how great it would be for us if we could just get the message? Get the message. Again, I tell you, this phone apparatus, this text thing that we have going on, this email thing, it works wonders, because you all from last week and from the conversation yesterday in preparation for Son of Man coming on today, everybody hit me. Oh, well, I wonder, what is he going to talk about? Is he just going to say, well, all we have to do is follow him? And I asked you, well, ask him that. Call in and ask him. So if you're not going to do that, then I don't have a problem with presenting that to him today as well, so that he can determine how he's going to respond to that. Because at the end of the day, it appears that we cannot do it by ourselves. Everyone needs a leader, it appears. And so, why not the Son of Man? But again, as you all have dictated in this little tool that you text me on, that you have a problem with the religious doctrine. Then you attach it to Islam. And then you say that you don't want to be a Muslim and what that looks like in America. And I shared with you that it's so interesting how we have a city in Michigan, Hamtramck, that is majorative Muslim, and the crime barely exists in the city. There is a united effort with over 500 languages that are spoken in the high schools from the residents of the city. And if indeed that is a depiction of what we believe, we are who we say we are, our actions show that we live in harmony and we grow. How does that sound? Doesn't that sound good? But I believe that a lot of us just don't know how to grow. We just stay stagnant in what we believe people owe us, what we believe that we should have done or could have done different, or what someone should have done different to us. And so we don't move, and we stay mired in that negative energy for some of us the majority of our lives. And then something might happen and you have a wake-up call. Something that wakes you up out of this stupor, wakes you up out of this hibernation to say, you know what? You can live the best life right now. You can get on the good foot right now. You can change how you look at things right now. As opposed to the glass being half empty, it's half full right now. Regardless of who America shows us that she is, and we understand that that is who America has presented itself and made itself to be, and we know that it is on the backs of the black and brown people of this nation, and we know that. Jane Elliott, I was listening to an interview, you know, she's done the blue-eyed test, and she was out of Iowa, and she's just, I'm just surprised that Jane Elliott is still around, truthfully, because, you know, she speaks some things that I know people don't like, and I've shared with you a couple of clips that she has presented in conversation on this show, but specifically the one that I was making reference to, she said, blacks have started this life, and they will be here when it is over. That we all come from black women. This is a Caucasian woman, a white-skinned woman, said that we all come from black women. And that when it's all said and done, black people will still be here when everything is over. She said it. And so when you understand that, how do you have that mindset? How do you let it impact what happens in your day-to-day life? Just from that simple level right there, that it all begins and ends with us, individually and collectively. And maybe I'll give you one more example before I bring the Son of Man in, that even when we talk about the development of this city of Detroit, and everyone now is, oh, this is just this great city because now we have this mayor who is white. Hello, the truth is, it is not because he's just this genius man, he's white. So white people support white people. So if he came into a position of power, then I'm going to bring my money to that city and support what he's doing. Did you all wonder why Dan Gilbert never did this in Cleveland? Cleveland was in the same economic devastations that Detroit was in, and he had been in Cleveland far longer. Did you ever wonder why he didn't do it there? But when it presented itself to Detroit, he comes in and buys up everything. And everyone else that looks like him comes in because then they believe the narrative. They believe that it's the comeback city. They believe that you can start over and it's great here. And so then they invest in the city. We could have done that when we had leadership that looked like us. But the issue is, those of us who could have done it were so busy trying to be like them and not trying to build into our downtown infrastructure. And the truth is, I believe the majority of us didn't even think that way. We don't even think how to create wealth and growth in the communities. We're used to you giving us a job, then creating an opportunity for us that we define builds wealth for us, and then we ride off into the suburbs, into the sunset. And so that's what we do. And then when everyone else started doing it, and even if it was the local people who didn't, the local influencers and shakers who didn't invest into Detroit, we could have gone and found other people of color around this great nation of ours who have wealth, who would have gladly bought into a narrative that a majority black residential city wants to do some things differently. We had to change the conversation, but we didn't. And now we look at it as if we're being left out. Do you think about those things? Does it even faze you? Do you have that narrative in your mind? And then you get mad, and so we're constantly seeing these atrocities. Like we're constantly dealing with Flint, and now they're on trial for not sharing that the water was contaminated, and we're still looking at that. And then, of course, we're adding Puerto Rico because now the president has insulted the people in Puerto Rico, that they're devastating the budget now, that, oh, you should be happy not too many people have perished. It's only 17 or so as compared to what happened in Katrina. And everyone's looking at that. And then I'll just add you one better. Then we're sitting here looking at what happened in Las Vegas. And so the atrocity of Las Vegas, which I think is most interesting, is that when they're having a conversation, you never saw, I mean, for the, first hour or so of coverage, 2 hours of coverage, they briefly talked about who they believed the killer was, but the images that they showed were that of his girlfriend. She was a woman of color. That was a person of interest. And you created the whole conversation about this woman of color, and then we're still led to believe that there's this great kumbaya in society, and that if we just love a little harder and we just focus a little better with how we look at our relationships with them, it'll be better. But we're here today to have the conversation that perhaps it's really still not about them, that it's never been about them, and the ownership has to come on us. And so what is that to you? And so it's with that that I welcome in the Honorable Son of Man. Assalamu alaikum to you, sir.
Wa alaikum salam.
Thank you.
And I want to say to all of those who are listening, who hunger and thirst for truth and righteousness, may Allah, assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, sir.
Now, to address some of what you said, the first thing that you brought up was people was asking you was all he was going to do. Was all I'm going to do is tell you, you need to follow me.
Yes.
But how many times have I asked you to point out to me why you shouldn't follow me? Mm-hmm. I've asked all of you why you shouldn't follow me.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been following yourself, and look at your condition.
Nice.
I'm not the one running around here wondering what to do about racism.
Right.
Wondering what the white man going to do to me.
Right.
When he gets behind me or whatever in his police car and stuff. I'm not worried about him shooting me down.
Yeah.
And I told you, my followers ain't worried about that either. But, you know, our biggest problem is we have never came to terms with our affliction. Okay. The worst affliction that was done to us is what was done to our mind. Yeah. In the first place, the white man made us afraid to separate from him and build something for ourselves. You saw what happened in Tulsa. Yeah. When black people were separated and they had something going, then he went and dropped bombs on them, bombed them out. But what you didn't know was, you know, they called it Black Wall Street.
Yes. Yes.
Almighty God didn't put Abraham's seed over here in bondage to become carbon copies of white people. He put us over here to purify us, okay, to let us learn what the devil really is. Okay. Let us learn what it's like to live in a godless civilization, in a civilization that people only talk about God, and talk about God like they talk about Santa Claus.
Right.
You notice this is the history of this world. I'm giving it to you in a capsulized form. The people at any prophet, Jesus, Moses, David,
Okay.
all of them, they ran into the same problem. When they came and said they was God's representatives, the so-called believers in God fought against them
Right.
and called them madmen. They called Prophet Muhammad a madman.
Yeah.
And that's just another way of saying he was crazy.
Right.
The same way that if you came up to me, now everybody talks about Santa Claus, in this society, they talk about Santa.
Right.
And it's okay until you meet somebody that starts really saying, hey, look, uh, I'm Santa Claus.
Right.
And they said, man, this fellow loves his mind.
Right.
Well, why? Because that's just a lie we've been telling. We know ain't no such thing as Santa Claus.
Right.
And that's why you fought Jesus, and that's why you fought all of the messengers of God. Because in your heart, you don't believe that there is a God. That's just something you say for etiquette's sake.
Ah.
Like these people, we never had actually in the black nation. We never had one God, except for trillions of years ago. That's the one who put the moon out there.
Mhm. Mhm.
After that, they broke it up into 12, and they would take turns putting their wisdom into action, and they would, after 25,000 years, then another one would put his into action, and so forth and so on. As the messenger taught that, I'm not going to go back through the whole scenario,
Okay.
but and that's what we had. We never had one after the moon, and so and that was supposed to keep us safe
Right.
from one uh, uh, being able to just unilaterally, just if he wanted to, just destroy everybody.
Yeah.
But what we didn't realize is that everything was always working to one. That's the way our number system was set up, and it was to teach us a lesson
Okay.
that everybody, since the human family is actually one.
Right.
Just like this lady Jane Elliott,
Mhm.
she keeps saying everybody came from the black woman, but in actuality, the woman does not determine the sex of the child. The man
The man
is the
does.
one that determines whether it's a male or a female or
Right.
boy or girl child. And they don't never want to acknowledge the black man as being the father of all human beings.
Mm.
And when you look at even these transsexual things,
Okay.
now they've learned how to kind of convert a man to having the appearance of a woman,
Mhm.
and that tells you right there that if you had just the X chromosome, where did the Y chromosome come from? It's much easier to see that the one who carries both is it's more logical. If nothing else, it's more logical for you to see that the woman comes from the man
Okay.
and not the other way around in creation. Now the two came together
Mhm.
at just like X and Y.
Mhm.
You have man and woman there, and that is carried in the loins of the man.
Right.
But Ms. Elliott, she wants to take our teaching. But you didn't hear nobody ever tell you and me that the black man and woman is the father and mother of all human beings until you heard that come from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And now she's taking a little bit of it and going around the country acting as though she's giving us some great revelation. And when
Mhm.
I had her in here to talk with her about it, she showed that she really just trying to continue to make white people our superior, because when I attempted to have a civilized conversation with her about that, she didn't want to talk to me.
Really?
Matter of fact, she was very rude.
Wow.
You know, I mean, the woman, she don't mean nothing she's saying. If she really recognized us in the sense of that we are the original people and we are their fathers, she would have shown respect for one of our fathers, which I am, when trying to have a conversation with her. Just like the people over there in Hamtramck, I've been wanting to correct it, and I want to correct it now.
Okay.
And if any of them say different, they're welcome to have a conversation with me about it.
Okay.
But they are not Muslims. They are wanting to be Muslims.
Ah.
The people who come from all of these countries, whether it's Iran, Iraq, Arabia, Pakistan, wherever they come here from, I think they are called Chaldeans.
Okay.
But if when they come here, they bring the same doctrine that they had in Pakistan, in Arabia, in Iraq, in Iran. They bring that to America, and they began setting it up here. They began practicing it here. But we never thought to ask ourselves, if what they had was so good, and what they had was really the true religion of God, why did they have to flee the country that they learned it in to come over to America to feel free to practice it? Well, that is, something that our people haven't learned. We're so filled with hatred and disrespect for ourselves that anybody can bring us anything as long as they don't look like us. And we will hear them before we will hear someone who looks like us.
So wait, Son of Man, I have a question.
We have been so divided against ourselves.
Okay.
Have been so divided against ourselves that we cannot unite because we have been tricked into hating ourselves. And that's one of the reasons why, I can't, a white man can get elected in Detroit, a city full of black people. And you don't seem to have no problem with him as a leader.
Okay.
But I'm standing up here speaking and shutting white people's mouths.
Okay.
I mean, they used to tell you that calling them the devil is hate teaching.
Mm-hmm.
And I stand up and say it, and they don't say nothing.
Okay.
And you still haven't figured out that I'm the one that you should be following. But, I mean, I'm not going to beg you. I'm not here to beg you.
Okay.
Yes.
So, Son of Man, I have a question, and then I'm going to go to the lines for a second. So, you made the comment that the Muslims here that they want to be Muslims. Was that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, can you expound on that? What does that mean that they want to be? They're not truly Muslim?
No, they're not.
Okay.
They're not Muslims until they submit to me.
I see.
And my people get offended when I say that.
Okay.
But you won't hear them say that I'm not telling the truth.
Okay.
Muslim means one who submits.
Okay.
But, I mean, they go over to Mecca, and many of them do it every year. They'll go over to Mecca to run around a building called the Kaaba, and they all try to get to a little rock that's set up there called the Black Stone, to kiss the stone and say, at your service.
Okay.
Now, today, that's idolatry.
Okay.
At the time that it was set up as a sign that at a certain point in time, a black man would be born that would be the rightly guided one.
Okay.
And they say the stones fell from heaven. Well, that's true. My mother, she raised me in the scripture. I mean, from the time that even before I was born, my mother was into the Bible, and everybody knows that whatever a woman is going through while she's pregnant, it affects her child.
Yes.
But anyway, so from my mother's womb, I have been taught the Bible.
Okay.
But when I got into my teens and was able to make my own decisions, I fell away from that.
Okay.
And so the stone was said to fall from heaven. But Prophet Muhammad and the four chiefs, they placed the stone on a white sheet and guided it back to its place. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and his ministers, Abdul Kareem, Abdul Rahman, Minister Farrakhan, and Yusuf Shah, they, you notice the holy scriptures are on white sheets of paper. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad and his ministers guided me back into the scriptures and put me in my place.
Okay.
And most people, they say, well, what about the book say the stone that the builders rejected have become the head of the corner? Most people don't know what that's talking about. Matter of fact, none of them know what it's talking about.
Okay.
It ain't nobody out there know what it's talking about unless they remember something I said.
Okay.
But that's the capstone. It is the head of all four corners of the pyramid. It brings it all to a point.
Okay.
And so I am the head of all of the prophets and all of the scriptures.
Okay.
I bring them all into oneness. And so they were told to submit to me.
Okay.
As Allah said, I'm going to create a man of sounding clay, of black mud, fashioned into shape. So when I've made him complete and breathed into him of my spirit, fall down making obeisance to him. Okay. Fall down submitting to him. Humble yourself to him. That's why all of the prophets, who are the angels, the angel means messengers of God.
Okay.
All of the messengers of God, they all submit to me. They all bore me witness. As Jesus said, the Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath day. Okay. David said, know ye that the Lord, he is God. Solomon said, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding. Okay. Prophet Muhammad said, say, I seek refuge in the Lord of men, the King of men, the God of men. All of them bore me witness.
Okay.
And then I come to my people, the ones who suffered slavery, the ones who were afflicted, and in all of their affliction, I've been afflicted, and they don't want me. Nah. He came unto his own, okay, and his own received him not.
Okay.
And that's the capsulized version of it.
Okay.
And sitting up here talking about post racism.
Yes.
In America, there ain't no post racism.
Nice.
Racism had temporarily. Everybody thought that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You notice, well, when the messenger, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, started teaching us the truth of white people, that the white man is the devil, that America is the Babylon, and all of that. Yes. You start seeing them say, well, we must all get along, and they set up integration and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And we thought that, oh man, racism is about gone. They condemning racism. Right. As the Bible says it like this in the 13th chapter of Revelation. It says, I'm going to read the first 3 verses. Right. And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns. 7 heads is talking about the 7 things that the Lord hates. In the book of Proverbs, around the 6th chapter and the 16th verse. These 6 things that the Lord hates, yes, 7 are an abomination unto him. So it says 7 heads and 10 horns. You'll notice the same way that all horned creatures, especially the cattle things, the bull and the cattle and the deers. All of them have antlers, and their protection,
Yeah.
their strength to protect themselves is in their horns.
Mm-hmm.
And you notice the Bible, the body of man has 10 systems. And without any one of those systems, we can't make it.
Okay.
So each one of them is necessary. And like your skeletal system, your circulatory system, all of the systems in the body are 10.
Okay.
That's one of the reasons why we have a number system that's base 10, because we are the base 10 number system.
Okay.
But anyway, then we go on, and it says, and he had 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. Yeah. And each one of those things, blasphemy is disrespect to something that you should be showing respect to. The Word of God teaches us to, like it says, he hates a proud look, but whosoever shall not humble himself. So when you teach people to be arrogant, proud, and you teach by example, not by what come out your mouth.
Yes.
But you teach by example.
Exactly.
And so by example, these people in this country are proud and arrogant. Even after knowing that the word Muslim means one who submits.
Okay.
But you look like letting fly out your mouth. I don't want to be no Muslim.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like, what are you? You want to be a devil. But anyway,
Right.
it says, and the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard. Well, that show you that it's talking about these integrated black and white. You know, the devil is in colors now, black and white. And because what? We became grafted white people over here in America, running around here, hating our own people and looking up to white people for our guidance for everything. Yeah. And you can't say that ain't true. It's right there. You just brought it up, and you got to. And this is not racism that I'm talking. This is fact.
Right. Right.
You got a black city who you put black people over, they ain't do nothing for it, and you got a black people now done elected a white man to be the head over a black city.
Yes.
And then it says, and the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth was as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power. A dragon is a lie. Okay. Anytime you talk about a dragon, you notice a dragon is a mythological creature. Mm-hmm. So when it says the dragon gave him his power, it means the lie. He taught us a lie. Yeah. And which is, he told us that Christianity is the religion of God, and that Jesus died for us, while they tell us they murdered him. Right. He didn't die, they murdered him, right, according to them. Right. But anyway, it says, and the dragon gave him his power, and his seat, and great authority. Yes. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death. One of his heads, the racism, the sowing discord among brethren. Yeah. He started teaching brotherhood. Say, well, all men are brothers. And that was true. And that still is true. Okay. In the way of being human beings, how could I deny that? And I'm the one teaching that all human beings came from black people. Yeah. Well, if all human beings came from black people, then all human beings is family. Right. In the way of being human beings. Yes. And so that seemed to cut racism out. Right. It says, and I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. You thought racism was over? Right. Well, how you get a man like Donald Trump in the White House now that openly practices racism? Right. And everybody knows he's a racist. He even stood up and read the snake to people. He read it after I taught on it. And he got up there and said, this song. He said, does it make sense to you? Right. He said, oh, shut up, silly woman. You know I was a snake when you took me in. He asked. I mean, I got it on tape. Right. And so what people thought was gone It's back, and the whole world looking at this America now, trying to figure out what's going on. And the book says that. It says, and I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. Everybody trying to figure, what in the world? How does this man become president?
Right.
All of them wondering after the beast.
Yeah.
And you call this book a lie? No, you the lie. Every one of you that stood up and tried to suggest that I should throw away the Bible, and you out there, it's a lot of things that I know about some of them that I'm gonna start telling you if they keep on climbing.
Ah.
You know,
Okay.
you ain't got no history to show that you care about our people.
Okay.
You can check my history out anywhere from this point to all the way back when I first became a grown man.
Okay.
And you won't be able to produce anybody that can tell you that I was ever anything other than a brother to my people. I ain't never sold no dope to my people.
Yeah.
I ain't never been the kind of person who would do anything for money.
Okay.
I never was like that.
Okay.
I wasn't raised that way.
All right.
My mother was decent, and my daddy was a decent man.
Okay.
And they did not raise me to be a blight on my own people.
Right.
Now, I'm not going to tell you I always loved black people like I was some. I ain't never been the wanting to be no preacher or nothing else.
Okay.
But I wasn't no low down brother. I knew how to be a friend to people.
Okay.
If I was your friend, I was your friend. And if I wasn't your friend, I didn't pretend. I just said, no, man, me and you can't. No.
Right.
You go ahead. I'm going to get over here. You stay over there.
Okay. Okay. So
But
man,
I was honest, and I'm still honest.
yeah. So man, let's go to the line. We have a call, so let's see what they have to share this morning. Thanks for your patience. Great morning to you. Are you there, caller?
Oh, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
All right. How you doing, Miss Collette? Well, how you doing, son of man? First, I'd like to give a shout out to TV 33, R.J.
Okay.
Watkins, all other TV show hosts,
Yes.
Especially Mr. Jones. The other person I'm gonna make sure is rest in peace, J.D. Hill, and rest in
Yes.
peace, Dick Gregory. Thank you, son of man, for gracing Miss Collette's show today. I genuinely appreciate it. Today, I would like to make a comment based on something that I heard you say, son of man.
Okay.
And it has to do with when you made a comment about the Chaldeans. Meaning, here in the city of Detroit, there are people of all ethnicities that are associated with me and DJ 8 Mile and with my organization, International Hip Hop. So when it comes down to Chaldeans in this city of Detroit, I just want to make a quick comment as far as based on clarity. Now, in my lifetime, I've always referred to people who call themselves white as Caucasians. And I learned in history that there's an area called the Caucasoid Mountains. So the basis of why Caucasians call themselves Caucasians is because they originate from the Caucasoid Mountains. So as a kid, I always, when somebody would say Caucasian, I knew that they meant they was calling themselves white. Everybody doesn't understand that that's what the word means or where the word comes from. Okay, so now within the last 2 years, I found out that the Caucasoid Mountains are located in Iraq. And this blew me away because living here in the city of Detroit, I remember over 20 years ago how it used to be some stores that used to be open on Christmas and Thanksgiving. There used to be some gas stations used to be open on Christmas and Thanksgiving, and some used to be closed. Now, the ones that used to be closed were the ones that were Muslims because Muslims at this time 20 years ago did not acknowledge Christian holidays. So when I would see some of the stores that was closed during the day, and they all looked at Arab, so I never could tell the difference. But I come to find out that Chaldeans are Christian Arabs, and Muslims are just Arabs that believe in Islam. So you have two different types of individuals. There's only difference is based on religion. So when it comes down to Chaldeans, they are Christian Arabs. Now, here in the city of Detroit, a lot of us feel that, okay, when it comes down to Arabs, the Muslims, okay, blacks, whites, or Hispanics, or those that have been here, have rights over them. But the thing is that it's the difference between being a Christian Arab and a Muslim Arab. Because the Christian Arab feels he is white.
No.
Okay, so hold on. Okay, 8 Mile, hold on. Son of Man wants to comment. Son of Man.
No, man. No, see, that's what's wrong with y'all. See, now, you come in here and you say you just want to make a comment. You ain't making no comment. You just putting out a whole bunch of stuff that you don't want nobody to question you on. In the first place, Caucasian don't mean somebody from Caucasus Mountains. Caucasian is what we named them to distinguish them and to make people know what we are talking about. Actually, the brown man, the yellow man, and the white man are Caucasian. We made them. They are called, the reason we say Caucasian is because they are made Asian. And we call the earth Asia. That's why we are called the Asiatic black man. We are the original man of Asia. And all of them are made Asians. But they all have had a little turn at having rulership, a dominion. The white man is the last. And that is the history of them. None of them got a history past 6,000 years. They are the sons of Jacob that the Bible talks about. Now, as far as you sitting up here talking about them people are Christian, all of the, whether you call it Christian, whether you call it Hindu, whether you call it Orthodox Muslim, Sunni, Shiite, and all that stuff, all of it is a lie. As the books teach you. Isaiah said, but we are all as an unclean thing, and he included himself in that. He said, we are all as an unclean thing. And all of our righteousnesses, meaning all of our religions, are as filthy rags. And so, I'm here with the true religion. I'm here with the true understanding of the scriptures, which you mostly all don't want. I know what your real problem is. You don't want to be righteous. You just want to be. You don't want to be free. You just want to. You want what white people have. And that's what the problem with the Nation of Islam was. They wanted the money. They wanted to go on. They didn't want the righteousness.
All right.
You see, I know what the problem was. You ain't fooling me. You fooling yourself.
All right, 8 Mile. Are you finished with your comment?
Well, the basis why I brought the comment is here in the city of Detroit. You had made a comment as far as about 15 years ago. We had a whole bunch of available land. And the residents of the city of Detroit that looked like me at that time did not purchase, speak of, or create their own financial heaven here in Detroit.
Right.
But at this time, we had over 1,300 churches that were ran by 1,300 different religious leaders. So a lot of people who are in our community, they put their belief before they put their financial future. And while we were doing that, everybody else in this city came and got down and did what they want to do, to the point that here in the city of Detroit, I do not know one church's chicken, which is bought and always catered to the generational residents that look like me. I still don't know one church's chicken in the city of Detroit that's owned by somebody black. So at the end of the day, It's okay to be about what we look like, but at the end of the day, here in the capitalist society, it's about the pocket, and it's about the person that lives next door to you. Because the other thing is, we do live in a racial country. So there are some people that look like me. The only reason why they live next to me because that's the only place they can't live at. But there's people who don't look like me, refuse to ever be my neighbor. And
Okay.
Son of Man, thank you.
No, brother.
All
I do
right, A
appreciate
Mile,
the
Son of
fact.
Man wants to comment. Son of Man, and then I'm going to allow you to wrap up because our time today is
Brother,
up. Son of Man.
brother, what you just said is the biggest problem that our people have. See, you notice, you just ignored everything I said. But at the same time, now you're talking about that, what we need this and we need that. And you're not no example of what you're talking about. I'm an example of what I'm talking about. I'm not broke. I'm not walking around here trying to figure out how I'm gonna make it. I'm doing the thing. I'm doing the things that I told you that we all should be doing together. And I'm successful at it. You know, before I Islam, before I accepted Islam as was taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I couldn't sit down and write no $20,000 check.
Okay.
But I can now,
Okay.
thanks to what he taught me.
Okay.
I wasn't thinking about going and setting up no tailoring facility to be able to produce my own clothing and stuff
Mhm.
before I heard him.
Mhm.
But I didn't just hear him talk about the money. I heard him talking about serving God and being right
Okay.
and believing in the Holy Scriptures. And serving God don't make us poor. What's got you poor is serving yourself.
Yeah.
That's why you're poor. That's why you ain't got nothing. Because you would rather go without God after money than to do what the prophets told you. Seek first the kingdom of God and his understanding of his righteousness.
Yeah.
And then all these other things will be given unto you. Now, I'm not like you. I'm not going to do you like you just tried to do me. I'm going to be on tonight.
Right.
And your name 8 Mile, I will open up and you and I can have a dialogue about what you want to put forth. And I will let you say it and I will show you that I have a better idea, a better way than what you do.
Okay.
Because I know that I'm the right guide for you. I know I'm the right guide for every human being on this planet. Because you can't point out no place on this earth where people are actually at peace and doing fine.
Okay. Son of
But I
Man.
know how to make that happen. And I don't rob nobody to do it. And I don't have to put nobody down. I'm not putting white people down when I call them devils. The white man been telling you he's the devil all his life.
Right.
And I'll tell you something else. That police officer in Georgia,
Mhm.
I got it right here on tape. I'm going to let you hear it.
Video you'll only see here on Channel 2 Action News. A Cobb County police officer making controversial comments, to say the least, during a traffic stop is now on administrative duties while the department conducts an internal investigation. Channel 2 investigative reporter Mark Winnie obtained the video through an open records request. Use your phone. It's in your lap right there.
I just don't want to put my hands down. I'm really sorry.
It's just what you want.
No. I've just been way too many videos of stuff.
But you're not black. Remember, we only kill black people. Yeah, we only kill black people, right? All the videos you've seen, have you seen white people get?
Now here, this man knew he was being videotaped saying that. Miss Clinton quoted Maya Angelou And she said, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them the first time.
Right.
Okay, I'm through. I just wanted to get that out.
No,
I
that's
didn't.
great.
I'm sorry I went over.
No, you are fine, son of man. It is always an opportunity to allow you to complete your thought. And I think that's a great way to continue this segment into your show this evening. When people show you action, who they are, you believe them. So whether you all want a better opportunity in this life to grow physically and spiritually, you have that option. Son of Man has always availed himself. He's actively working to make us better individually and collectively. And you can either agree to that or you don't. And so maybe, again, the choices that we make will determine the type of society we live in. So I'm going to piggyback Son of Man's comments. Maybe we just don't want to be free. And so you can continue the conversation. He has extended the opportunity. You all can call in tonight. But of course, we're going to put up the information on the screen as well. And you all can read that. You can continue to hear the Son of Man tonight at 9 p.m. on WHPR and TV 33. And then you can also see the phone numbers because, you know, my eyes are getting a little older. And so I don't want to misquote the numbers. But the information's right there. You can continue the conversation. I encourage all of you, call in. Have the conversation. Whatever it is that you believe, articulate it, and then be willing to speak on it. Son of Man, it's always a pleasure. Thank you for your time, and thank you for your work, and thank you for your truths. Have an amazing rest of the day. Thank you, always. Everyone, don't turn that dial. We're going to take a break, and then we're going to get into our Freestyle Friday segment. You all know I'm going to follow up a little bit with this. I got a great clip for us, and I'm going to talk a little politics. So don't turn that dial. We'll be right back.